All right. The Far Left Lane podcast. We're doing it again. Season 3, episode 6. This one's called The Chinchilla Bet. Stay tuned to the end of the episode and you can find out why. So I wore the hoodie that was mentioned in a comment, or not mentioned in a comment, but it was a very specific small island in one of the comments, and I was like, that's bizarre because I have a hoodie from that place, Northern Mariana Islands. It's just a weird coincidence.
Yeah. We
This
should
is
do
like
shout outs
25
to
years.
all the people that comment. Your
Okay,
mom,
I think we're done. Oh yeah, my mom. Um, my
you,
mom's gonna get a
me.
shout out at the end of the episode, actually. Um, all right, dude. I want to start with a space story that caught my attention. Exoplanet WASP 76b. It's
Okay.
the way the astronomers talk about this place. They use a lot of like very dark imagery. They're like, it's a hell planet. That's what they called it.
It's like
I
a
mean, I get
doom
it because it
planet.
says like the clouds drip molten iron rain. That sounds pretty terrible. But there was a disturbing light asymmetry on this thing, where I learned something new from this. I don't really completely understand what this means, but they're saying it's a phenomenon similar to a rainbow.
Oh, okay.
But in space they call it a glory. Weird. So yeah, this planet it has this odd kind of like one side of the planet is lit up very nicely and the other side is dark, and there's kind of an odd looking thing to it, quality, and they're like, how is that possible? And they're like, oh, it's a glory.
I
I've
feel like
never
you're
heard of
about
that
to, I feel
before.
like you're about to say hole at the end of that.
No, just
I
a
know.
glory.
Yeah.
It's have you ever heard of that though, a space term called a glory?
No.
I've never heard this before, and I just thought that was an odd thing.
I will say
But
this. I've
also,
heard of WASP as a planet name. WASP. What
okay,
was it say? What was the name
this was WASP 76b.
Yeah, the numbers I don't know. There's probably a one, two,
76.
three, four.
Yeah.
I assume there's
Or
sequential.
or if there's A and B planets, maybe there's twice as, I don't know. Who
Yeah.
knows? Maybe there's C's. Um, but yeah, that's your term for the day, far left lane listeners. A rainbow in space is called a glory. We learned something new. Um, yeah, I don't have anything else on space. I just saw that one thing. I was like, is that right? Because I mean, it's weird to not be familiar with the term. But
Yeah,
yeah, it's a thing.
I'm very interested in the letter at the end of the name too, and the glory part that you brought up.
Yeah,
But I'm wondering if it's like size, like a B size is a
I
C's
bet that's
bigger.
what it is. I'm
I don't
sure.
know.
That's probably definitely what it is. Okay, in the world of AI, I saw a story that I thought was pretty darn cool. Johnny Ive, Sir, I think he's Sir Johnny Ive, the legendary
Oh,
designer from Apple,
yeah, the bald guy.
is teamed up. Is he bald or is he have a shaved head or a
Oh,
buzz
I
cut? I
he
can't
may have
picture.
hair and he just shaves it. That's a good point.
I think he just keeps it like really close. I don't know. I can't remember his head now, but I don't think he's
I
a
just know
bald
he
man.
says aluminum, aluminium, and
Aluminum.
I'll never forget that.
Um, well, he's teaming up with Sam Altman to start a hardware company. I'm very excited about that because like he's legendary with Apple. I mean, he did everything. He started with the Newton, which had some battery issues. It was kind of the original Samsung Galaxy.
It
Those
was the
things were
90s.
blowing
What
up.
can you do, right?
It was the 90s. That's always a good excuse for things. I mean, everything, the most iconic things, when you think of Apple and the design, it's because of Johnny Ive. So I'd love to see what he does with some AI-powered hardware with Sam Altman. Um, Also, when I was reading about this, I didn't know that Johnny Ive also designed not just the products. He also designed like the user interface for iOS. He also designed the Apple Campus, the Apple Park. He designed the stores, how they would be like he designed everything. He's super
Wow.
important.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm looking forward to seeing what that company produces. Uh,
What's the company called?
he,
Or is it just OpenAI?
the no, it's a
It's
new
not.
thing,
Is
but
it?
they haven't
Okay.
announced it yet. It just kind of happened. Um, all right, humane AI pin. We talked about this on the Coolish or Foolish episode, and now I think those things people are using them, right?
Yeah, but I think
What's
the consensus is it's pretty foolish. I mean it's
right?
reviewed terribly, yeah. Like there's so
Wow.
many people showing like examples they're demoing the tech. I think Wired
Uh,
and The Verge, I saw some video reviews and like it just
mm,
doesn't work. Like you'll ask it
mm,
something, it's like it's stuff your smartphone can do, but
right.
this AI pin can't handle it. I don't know.
it's just ridiculous because it's like it's $700,
It's
and
yeah, it's as much as like
and
a
it's
premium smartphone. Yeah.
and $12 a month, like for the subscription. It's like
Yeah.
it better work really great. Um,
Wasn't it kind of marketed as like a like an iPhone killer or something like that? Or maybe it wasn't. I don't know.
yeah, no, I think it was. It's like I think that some for some reason in the space people like to assume like we're gonna get past these and then we're gonna have like just wearable things and no longer have this. It's like no, this is pretty great.
Yeah,
This is cool.
you need a
We like this.
screen. Yeah, you need
Yeah.
like how am I going to watch movies and YouTube videos with
Well,
my
you
AI
can
pit?
use the little tiny
Oh,
projector.
I guess-
Yeah. Imagine you're like, at the airport and you're like doing this and you're watching Oppenheimer.
you know what?
This is
Actually, I
great, dude.
just you know that new show, the Fallout show that just
Mm,
got released. They have like the what's it called? The Pip Boy thing. It's like it's basically a big giant smartwatch. So
okay.
it's like huge, the display on it. Maybe that's the future. Maybe we get rid of phones and it's just like a big thing on your wrist. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I think people like the idea of wearable stuff. I thought the Humane AI pin looked pretty cool. I thought it sounded pretty cool, but I didn't like that price point, and I don't like that subscription kind of like you never own the
Yeah.
product thing.
Have you
And
seen
now that
any of the reviews for it or?
I saw MKBHD Marcus Brownlee had like a teaser for a review that he had coming out. He's
Oh,
like, I
okay.
have a lot to say about this thing. So I've been looking for that video whenever it comes
Right.
out, but no, I haven't seen any like kind of real world use yet. Um, it's fine. It looks kind of like a dud. Uh, Anything else going on in the world of artificial intelligence, Kevin?
Trying to think. Oh, I played recently. It's not really news related, but I was messing up with that Suno, I think it's called, where it's an AI website where you can like have it make a song for you. Have you played with that at
Okay.
all? We should
No.
make we could do like an episode where we just do a live show and we'll maybe try to create a song on the fly together. It's
Or
it's interesting.
we could write songs as well because we are musicians.
Yeah, we could do
Like, you know,
We could do that, but it would be a short little episode. It's not, me
yeah.
messing with a
I
guitar
know what you're
interface.
saying. I was just pushing back
Yeah.
against AI taking our jobs.
Well, it wouldn't be the music that we like. We could have it write some, I don't know, some
Some
polka dance song
ska,
that
ska. I hate ska. That would be like what I would say. I can't write a ska
I
song.
never
I'll
I
leave it
never
up to the
listened to ska, but
robots.
I do appreciate it reminds me of the old days, like skateboarding, Tony Hawk
Mhm.
games, you know what I mean?
I just don't like horns in my punk music. I'm like, get those things out of here. You're ruining a good thing. Like, go back to band camp.
Yeah.
You ska nerds. No, I'm kidding. Everyone's entitled to like bad music. All right, let's move on to some news, dude. Uh, what did you mention about Margot Robbie? Let's go with that
Oh
one.
yeah. Okay.
Monopoly?
She
Is it?
is producing a Monopoly movie, just like the board
Okay.
game. So I
Hmm.
don't know if you're like a thimble or like a an iron. You know how they have those little pieces, and it's
Yeah,
like they're maybe personified somehow going
they're
around a board.
sentient. Yeah, that would be funny actually.
There's a lot of
I
different
don't know.
ways I guess they could do it.
Do you think it's gonna be that literal, or do you think they're gonna do like kind of like you remember the Battleship movie that came out a few years ago with Rihanna? That was
Yes,
like
I
they
do
made it
remember that.
very literal, with like pegs and things like it was like they tried very hard. They
Yeah,
kind of painted themselves into a corner. I don't think Margot Robbie seems like a dummy. I don't think she would do it like that. There's got to be a fun spin on it. Um,
yeah. I was trying to think of there could be other. Maybe it's like real estate investors and they're buying
yeah,
up. Uh, they're trying to like take each other's property and bankrupt each other. That could be it.
it,
I don't know.
it could be something like that. Like there was Apple TV did a Tetris movie. I have not watched it, but I did talk to someone about it, and I was like, how does that work? It was
I
actually
wouldn't. I
about
wouldn't even know.
it was about the history of the game's development in Russia, and then like
Oh,
kind of a whole almost like a conspiracy thriller kind of thing about how the game came to market. So that's kind of a cool way to do
that's a
it.
good.
But I
That's a
don't
good
think
point. It could just be a documentary, right? How
could
Monopoly
be.
came to be.
I don't know. We'll stay tuned for that one. I'll see it because she's in it. I like her. Um, Marjorie Taylor Greene. I wrote her down.
Yeah.
What's there to say?
Well, as usual, she said something stupid.
Some
Um,
dumbass shit.
yeah, she basically
Jeez.
equated the eclipse that we all knew was coming and the earthquake that happened to
Yeah.
the United States or the country needing to repent.
Oh,
because
come on.
yeah,
Jeez.
yeah, I have
There's
her tweet actually. I could quote her, just make sure.
Yeah, I want to hear the way she said this.
Let me move
And then I want to
the
talk about the ladies of the View and what they said about the eclipse because it's kind of
it's
similar. They
similar.
had a
Yeah,
bad
I'm sure there's a
bad
ton.
take. There's a lot of bad takes on this.
Yeah, she
Um,
tweeted, God is sending America strong signs to tell us to repent, earthquakes and eclipses, and many more things to come. I pray that our country listens.
wow. So yeah, that's even actually dumber than the women on the View. I saw the clip of them talking about it, and they're like, "What's going on?" There's like earthquakes and there's eclipses, and then there's cicadas, and they're like just saying random things, and they're like, "Is this climate change? Is climate change causing all these things?" And Whoopi Goldberg's like, "Well, we know about eclipses. That happens all the time." She just like runs right past her. But here's the funny thing. I checked this website to see like what shows are getting renewed and canceled or premiering and stuff. I saw that show's getting canceled after like 15 years. So I guess people don't have
Mutants,
a
wow.
have an appetite for women sitting around talking nonsense.
I don't think they have probably a young following at all. I
Oh,
don't know any.
I can't imagine they have
I think they're
like a
mostly
big
like
following at
Whoopi
all.
Goldberg's age and Joy, whatever her name
Yeah.
is. What's her last name? Joy something.
Behar? I think
Behar?
it's Behar.
That sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but if the show's getting canceled and there's just clips like that go viral of them just being morons, I understand it. It's come to an end.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, the what's her name? Okay, yeah, let's talk about the U.S. representative for the Texas 18th congressional district, also known as Sheila Jackson Lee. Her comments were also in the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
But she was going off on about like the sun and the moon is more manageable because it's made of gas. Like all of these really crazy things, and we can't go to the sun. I don't know. She was just saying wild stuff.
Yeah, yeah. It didn't make any sense. Like, and it wasn't, I don't think it was just single mistake. It was multiple mistakes. Like she would
It
like
was
double
just
down
a,
on it.
a
Like
run-on sentence of just bad information. It was
yeah.
really crazy.
And
And then
then
when
her
she did
follow-up
like
tweet,
her, that was
go
even
for it.
worse.
Yeah, because she
It was just
basically she's like, oh, people are so stupid. It's like instead of
she said
owning,
Republicans are so stupid. She's like, I misspoke. It's like, come on, you didn't misspeak. Misspeaking is saying like something like you know, I mean, she could have said a dozen other things, and it wouldn't have been as bad. But
she could have
she's
mixed up the
shrunk
moon and the sun like once and then
something
corrected
like
herself,
that,
but like she like
right?
doubled down on the moon. It's a gas. We
Yeah.
yeah.
But we're going back there. NASA's going back, but we can't go to the sun. It was just a lot
It
of
was very
nonsense. I
strange.
mean,
Yeah.
I was wondering if she was having like a medical emergency, honestly, because it was sort of like stroke kind of talk, like just like in the sun, it's gases, the moon's gas. See, it was like just weird stuff.
If she was
But
at a
those are
retirement
the
home, I think that would have been normal, just some
right, but
old lady
but
having
she's
a rant,
running
but she's running the country.
she's a lawmaker. Oh, dude. Oh, we're so in so much trouble.
Uh,
Okay, this will kind of get us into the political zone. Last political news story. Speaker Mike Johnson and the House vote to extend FISA 2 more years. So, you know, I don't like that. I
I'm
mean, I
not a
think you're a
fan of
pro.
surveillance. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a pro privacy person, so that bothers me because they say they're going to extend it for 2 years, but then they're going to keep extending it. I mean, it's like once the Patriot Act was a thing, it's not like going to go away.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
heard about this and I actually I didn't do any research on it, but was it did it not get renewed for the last couple of years or something? Because I know
no,
it's
no,
been
it was a couple days from expiring, and then
oh,
the House voted to give it more time. Um,
gotcha.
a
Okay.
spy program, that's cool.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, Speaker
It's one
Mike.
of the few bipartisan things that this country can do is spy on or the
Speaker Mike
citizens.
Johnson, I never had a great opinion about him, but now it's even lower. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, him thinking the Earth is like 500 years old and stupid things like that. I'm just like, wow. So he's
Yeah,
a dummy.
5,000 or 7,000. Yeah.
Whatever
Yeah.
nonsense. But the fact that he's like you know, he's into like this foreign intelligence surveillance. I'm
Yeah,
like,
we have trees that are alive today that are older than how old he thinks the earth is.
that's wild. That's wild. Um, so we didn't really talk about how we want to do the good, the bad, and the ugly segment with the presidential candidates. But I mean, I made a bunch of notes in each column for Biden. If you want to start that today,
Yeah.
uh, okay.
You want to
Let's start
do
with the
start with
good.
pros? Yeah.
Let's start with the good. And we'll take turns. How about that? This could be a long segment, people. So hey, if you're really not into it, uh, watch a different podcast. No.
No,
Okay,
please,
I have
please
a
don't
bunch
leave
of. I
us.
have a okay, my first good for Biden. Renewable power is the number two source for electricity in the U.S. and it's climbing. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that is good. I'm gonna. I have a couple in here. I'm gonna keep it kind of related to what you just said, though. Um, Infrastructure Investments and Jobs Act. Uh, that was a bill that got funding for roads, bridges. I like that we're investing, you know, in America.
Same.
Maybe not
I'd
everything,
rather.
but
Yeah, I agree with that. Uh, Here's one that I put down because I'm glad this is on his radar at least. But also when I did a deeper dive, there's nothing has changed yet. But it's
mhm.
something he has talked about. A sweeping crackdown on junk fees and overdraft charges.
I like
Um,
consumer protection. Yeah.
I've had an experience with in recent years with Wells Fargo, Bank of America, and Chase,
Hmm.
and I could tell you they haven't done anything to back off on fees. And also same with like Ticketmaster, airplane tickets, all these things. It's about the same, but I'm glad he's wants to do something about it. Like he's thinking about this in the right way. It's the same way like RFK when RFK Jr. was talking about like how like when the average American, I know I'm getting off subject talking about him, it's not his turn, but it's a good comparison. When he was talking about how like the average American sees that check engine light go on in their car, it's like it really messes everything up. It's like that's like the worst thing. I was like, that's super relatable. So when he talks about this, like junk fees and stuff, and it's something he wants to do something about, I hope he does, um, because I like that. All right,
Yeah.
you do one.
Okay. So this was like when his first year. I like that he expanded the child tax credit. It was part
Okay.
of the American Rescue Plan. That was when they were doing like monthly payments. Apparently that
Mm-hmm.
that helped keep 3 million children out of poverty during that time, but it did expire, so it's not.
Oh. But hey, 3 million is a good number.
Yeah.
Um, uh, he Biden's been really good on building up our drone armies. Because Beijing's doing the same thing. I guess the plan is they're gonna some point when we're really not friends anymore, they're gonna just swarm us to overwhelm our radars and our
Well,
systems with. So we've been building up these massive drone armies. Take that, China.
yeah, we're gonna pop your
Biden's
balloons too when you fly them over.
no, that's something I would put in the bad column for him. He sort of just let
Oh,
that
yeah, he
happen.
did let it float for a while.
He let that thing get a nice long trip across America. All right, you do another one.
Okay.
Oh no, I've got ink all over my hands.
Criminal
Oh no.
justice reform. I know he signed an executive order to restrict no-knock warrants, which
Okay.
I think most of us are kind of agree that's probably not a good thing to just like,
Right.
especially for like drug-related offenses. That happens a lot where people die, children die. Um, just seems like a bad idea. I could see it being used for certain specific cases, but he did that. He limited chokeholds and transferred military equipment to police departments, like that have like you know police grade weapons like attached to them and stuff.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't think police departments need that.
No, that's blurring the lines
Grenades,
between the military and police.
yeah,
Yeah, it's like that.
grenades.
I personally think that the military should have that kind of heavy equipment. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
And I think if it's a situation where it's like it's at that point, it's like all right, cops, you're out. National Guard, you're in.
yeah.
That's kind of like what they're for reserves. But yeah, I don't like it when they give police officers. I mean, I guess
They don't.
SWAT is its own different thing, but like
There's certain
still,
cases where I could see, and very specific cases where like having like some sort of weaponized robot to maybe go into a school that has a school shooter, not just go into a school in a school shooter situation. Um, so that way, the cops don't have to like run in there and possibly get themselves
right.
shot. Something with a camera. I guess you don't even necessarily have to have a weapon on it, but it definitely
Mhm.
needs to be used responsibly. I wouldn't want that shooting thing shooting people
Yeah, that's scary.
needlessly, but I could see that being a SWAT type scenario. But
Hmm.
yeah, grenades, they don't need grenades.
No,
They don't
no,
they
they don't.
definitely don't need a predator drones.
No.
flying around and shooting missiles.
Yeah, it's weird when you see like a kind of like a 5-star GTA type like experience with someone like who's on the run and the cops bring out tanks and stuff. And I'm like, they have those? That's wild.
It's very crazy.
That's crazy. Um, okay, I got another one in the conservation, which is something I care about, and I'm glad he does. The Biden administration helped broker a deal to save the Colorado River. That's super important to 40 million Americans. You know, we share this supply of water, 7 different states, and there's a lot of infighting with water rights, you know?
Yeah.
So Biden administration put like $4 billion into just conservation, also making like us all work together because, come on, we're not going to go to war over water. We can't do
Yeah.
that.
I hope he
So
does
yeah,
something. If
that's
he hasn't done this, I hope he does something with like the foreign companies that like
it hasn't yet.
yeah,
That
that needs to happen.
I looked into that with like the Saudi thing we were talking about before, and
Yeah.
yeah, that's something that they're just letting ride. Um,
Hmm. I don't like that.
I don't like that either. I don't
Um,
like a yeah.
I
Go
have
ahead.
another one. The Safer Communities Act. That was to expand background checks for guns. Funding to implement red flag laws for states that choose to use it. They're not forcing every state to
I'm stupid. I don't know
implement
what
red
red
flag.
flag laws are.
It's a way if somebody is red flagged, like maybe they did something illegal or they abuse somebody, they could be put on a red flag where they wouldn't be able to purchase a gun, and they can also get their guns taken away if they.
Okay.
So like basically, if there's warning signs that somebody might be violent, they can get their gun taken
Mhm.
away.
Okay.
And it's usually they have to do something criminal for that to
So
happen.
it's like people that are on their way to being felons, but
Correct.
before
Yeah.
they're felons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
There's been a bunch of cases not that long ago that if they implemented red flag laws, because only a couple states are doing it right now. I think Connecticut's one of them. Um, they they would have prevented some like shootings. So I think it's worth looking into. But yeah, they're not requiring every state do it. So there's funding if they want to implement those. There's also mental health funding for schools. I think that's a good idea. Um,
Yeah.
kids that get picked on, having some mental health
hmm
professional there could be a good thing.
It'd be a good thing. Um, this next one is a little bit of a caveat to it because it is something. It's like one of the last things that Trump signed into law. But I like that Biden was like, you know what, that was a good move. Let's keep doing that. This is important. Forcing Chinese companies to open their books. You know, our trading partners don't always play fair.
Mhm.
Um, uh, Beijing has they've said this because they say it's a national security concern. They're like, no, we can't share. It's national security. But it's like, you know, if you want to do business with us, we need to be like kind of like giving a little bit of transparency. Um, so I kind of guess I covered it, but it's like so Chinese and Hong Kong based companies that trade with us have to have they can't cook the books. They have to keep them open. It was a Trump thing, but Biden was like, it's my thing now. That's a good thing. I'm gonna keep doing that. Let's make China play fair.
Yeah, no, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, I don't trust them at all. So you better be transparent. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just had one more thing. Student loan reform. I like that he tried to make an attempt to forgive some student loans for everyone. I know that's
Yeah.
it's subjective. Not everyone's gonna agree with that.
hmm
That he should do that, but he also made a repayment plan called Save that is going to help out a lot of like low income people, so their balances don't like grow exponentially if they're not paying like the interest payment on it. So like if they make a payment, they may have to be on an income based repayment, and it won't cover the interest that because it's at like 7% right now for student loans. I don't even think we should have interest on student loans personally, but especially if it's
I
supposed to be an
agree.
investment to like better yourself and like try to make more money that could end up in more tax revenue. It seems like it's almost like an infrastructure investment. I don't know.
Mm.
When you think about it, if you think human beings are a form of capital, I think they are.
Yeah, I kind
I
of
think we're
agree with
valuable,
you.
but
Yeah, I think we're extremely valuable.
yeah.
Um, Let's see, something else he did. I got a couple things here. Um, Biden moves to bring microchip production home. Um, so that's something that has been talked about now for about 2 years. It was really mentioned, I think, in July 2022.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of companies like Taiwanese companies and other companies that are now they're working with us and they're making plans and they're making announcements.
Right.
There's moves being made, but not really anything happening yet. But it sort of looks like it's a
Yeah,
slow
I guess it takes
process.
time.
But
Yeah. Texas,
it's
I
taking
think
a
they're getting a
while.
lot of investments, right, for
Yeah,
to production there.
I looked at a map for a previous episode of which states were making microchips or parts for microchips or whatever, and there was almost every state. There was something going on. The last one is huge one. I know it's also got a little bit of a bad side to it, a really bad side, but Biden did pull us out of Afghanistan.
Right.
He did it.
There's
So
yeah.
I put it in the good column.
I think it's a good thing. I know there
Yeah,
people I think no matter what, there was going to be problems leaving. People are going to be like, "Oh, we didn't," you know what I mean? That's the reason why we were there for so long.
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it was as bad as it
It
could
was
possibly be.
yeah, it was
I
messy.
mean, I mean, I guess that's sort of in my bad column as well, and we'll go to the bad
Yeah.
column now. So I would say, yeah, he did it. He pulled the trigger. He said, we gotta just do it eventually, and he did it. But it was hasty, and a lot of people died because of it, and it armed the Taliban, and it also armed other conflicts, like in Pakistan and the Kashmir region. Most of those guns that were left in Afghanistan, like the M4s and M16s, are now being used in this other conflict in another part of the world. There was so many of them. It was like $7 billion worth of guns. There was planes. There was a lot of ground vehicles. It was not just like some crates of bullets
Yeah.
and guns. It was everything. I think it was something like 350,000 like guns. I mean
That's
that's
crazy.
crazy.
I'm
Like that's
surprised that we
crazy.
haven't like over the years that we've been talking about leaving, that we haven't been like kind of dwindling the supply. Maybe we have
It's
been. I don't know all the details, but
Yeah, I think there was a massive amount of weapons, and that
yeah.
this being like what was kind of like the loose change left in the couch cushions, like that was like it's like wow, what a
Yeah, I
huge
guess the military
amount,
loose change is pretty significant.
hundreds of thousands of weapons, and
Yeah.
what's
They could have just
also
given it to
unfortunate about
Ukraine.
that is
Just give that to Ukraine. Send it to
actually that
terrorists.
a lot of it is probably working its way through like the arms trade, but it sucks. It's really sad because like when the Taliban took over after there was like this like vacuum since then in the past like 2 years, thousands of civilians have just been murdered with the weapons we left there. It's just like it's hundreds and hundreds of hundreds, not thousands, hundreds and hundreds of civilians in the Afghanistan soldiers we were training and stuff
Mhm.
died when we pulled out. 13 13 Marines and I think like one naval guy died, and then since then thousands more. So it was just done so poorly, but I'm glad he did it. But I just wish it happened differently. I
Yeah.
think everyone agrees on that. So yeah, I'll put that as the one of the first bad ones. That was a pretty bad look. Actually, I'll go through this. Can I go through this really quickly?
Yeah.
Quickly, my bad section, because
Yeah.
it's sort of just I did like just almost adjectives. Some of the bad stuff. Okay, so the senility, the dementia. Physically, he doesn't seem very healthy.
Yeah.
That's concerns me, especially when the person next in line in the succession is someone who I don't think would do a better job. He seems confused a lot. He seems sad a lot. That bums me out.
He does
And
seem sleepy
he's
quite a bit.
he's Sleepy Joe. Yeah, it is. It's like he's low energy, but he's also seems kind of like just sad. There's something about I guess like aging and stuff that he's depleted. But it also does worry me that the guy who's supposed to run the country, he doesn't really do anything without like handlers or permission or a cheat sheet or it's everything is so scripted with him. Um, I mean, he asks for like permission sometimes when he's like I don't know if they want me to talk about that. He's taking direction. He can only read from the teleprompter. He can't go off script ever. When he does, he says things like Russian healthcare is better than ours. He says like just wacky stuff when he's like unscripted. That's concerning. You know, it makes us look weak. It makes it. It's. I worry about.
I don't even
Like
know anything about Russians' healthcare.
that was what he said at the State of the Union when he went off script
Uh,
the first time, and he was like saying how you can get better healthcare at all these other places. He was like, "Go to Moscow." It's like, dude.
Don't go to Moscow.
That's it. That's it for me shitting on Joe Biden. Well, no, I have to get to the ugly section. Damn, that's where it gets nasty. But no, that was these are sort of things I say
No,
like,
I agree with what the ones that you mentioned already.
yeah, it's some stuff we can't ignore.
High
You know, I don't think
inflation.
any,
That's, I mean, he's
yeah,
president. I know there's nuance to it. It's some of it's supply chain, corporate profits are
corporate greed. Yeah, there's a
50%.
lot of
I think it
levels
was
to it.
50 something percent, just a little above 50% is all related to like increased corporate profits,
Hmm.
um, which is crazy to me. But he's president during this time, so I'm gonna judge Trump when we review him the same way.
Oh yeah,
But I'll
yeah,
be
that's
nuanced
the
with it.
game.
I'll
Um,
notate if there's something that I was out of his control.
yeah, some of the I guess when we get to the RFK Jr. part, I mean, it's different since he doesn't have the
It's gonna
political
be,
experience.
yeah,
But it could be like fact-driven things based off what he said, you know,
yeah.
and also just the opinions. Uh, okay, the ugly section for Biden, it's where it gets rough. I'm gonna let you start this one because I have
How
a
about how
lot.
about I say one and then you can expand on it because I know you have a lot of thoughts on this one. Border
Okay,
security, illegal
it's a
immigration.
problem. It's just an open border. I mean, his policy from day one was just like let's loosen that thing up, and then 6 million people, non-citizens, now live here. That's the most in history. You
Yeah,
know, there was actually a one day that was like the most record-breaking day where it was like 12,000 people crossed the border in one day. That's just
that is
never
crazy.
numbers like that have never happened before. But yeah, 6 million in these 3 years scares me, dude.
I sometimes I wonder if it's just like a swing in the other direction because Trump was pretty hard on the border with like you've heard of other like families that were getting separated, and they were I think they were using it as like a deterrent to try to prevent people from trying to come because they're like you're gonna get separated if you come here. um,
Yeah.
and then there was a lot of people very critical of Trump during that time, and then it's like Biden was trying to
Well,
basically
well,
swing the other direction, but too far.
I know we'll get to the Trump thing later, but you know, I've said it before in the podcast. He deported far less people than like his predecessors. You know,
Hmm.
he said he was gonna get rid of everyone. He didn't. He was all talk on that. He like Obama like deported a lot more people than Donald Trump did. Then I know he had 8 years and 4 years, but still, it's like looking at it.
Yeah,
Anyways, we'll get to that next week.
yeah, yeah.
Um, okay, other stuff for him. Pretty ugly stuff. He was very pro-war as a senator, a vice president, and a president. You know, he's voted in favor of all these things. He always goes back and he says, like, you know, like on Iraq, he was like, you know, I regret my voting for that, but he did. He supported all that stuff, and now he supports a lot of wars. He's a new one every week. Not really, but but yeah, at the same time, I don't like that. You know how you give weapons and money to Israel, and then you give aid to Gaza. It's like that's kind of weird. That's a
Yeah.
weird way to manipulate things.
It's not well thought out for sure.
Ukraine's getting a ton of money, but also they're getting Abrams tanks and stuff. You know, they're getting like really good equipment. That's just never gonna end. It worries me. And like I
Yeah.
said, I don't like the whole heavily arming the Taliban and with the pullout. That was pretty rough. Yeah, open borders. You said that. Um, this bothers me with him. He's sometimes deliberately dishonest, and sometimes I think he's just confused. But I don't like the fact that he's so far gone that sometimes like he repeats stories that even like his people, even like Corinne Jean Pierre is like he's misspeaking on that. Did not happen that way. It happens all the time. He just like it's like he doubles down on things that he's misremembering, and that's a scary thing for a leader to be like kind of like sneaky and also confused and like maybe like you're not being sneaky but you don't know the better anymore. I don't like that. um Yeah, sometimes he does seem a bit delusional about things like inflation, economy, like, or I've heard a lot of people say he's gaslighting us. I don't really know if that's the case. I think he's just sort of just spinning it, cherry picking it for the good numbers, for the State of the Union, for the.
Yeah,
But no,
I
it's
think all of them do that though. All politicians, especially if they're in
yeah, they
power,
want to keep their
they're
jobs.
like,
Yeah,
let's kind of fudge this a little bit. It's technically true, but it sounds better.
yeah.
Yeah.
The Committee on Oversight and Accountability is continuing to investigate the whole Biden family and how they move money around. Hunter, when he was getting money from the Ukrainian gas company, the money that he was sending back to his dad. These things happened, but the money trail is so complicated. It's probably going to be years before they really figure out the shell game that's going on. But that's another thing. There's a lot of shell corporations involved in the Biden family, and I don't like the nepotism with Hunter. That's pretty bad.
Yeah.
No one else would have be in the same like situation if they were the president's son.
Well, Trump had his whole family part of his cabinet, um,
Right, but they
but no,
weren't
I
they
agree. I
weren't
actually
doing
don't like.
tax evasion and
Yeah.
gun charges
No, no,
and
they weren't. No.
sneaking coke into the White House. Like all kinds of bad things have
Although
been
Trump
involved
Jr.
in.
And I guess we're not talking about Trump right now, but I was just, it made me think of that. Like,
Yeah. Oh no, I'm gonna be
he's,
really hard on his
yeah.
on Trump's kids because yeah, but no, I'm just saying like with Hunter and then the Ashley Biden story with her diary is pretty creepy.
I actually don't know.
So
Tell me about that. I actually don't know anything about.
it's pretty creepy, and I don't want to
Well,
I don't
you
know
don't have
get
to,
flagged on the podcast,
yeah,
but
don't spill.
basically what happened is there was this woman who was staying in a house that Ashley Biden used to stay at, and she
Mm.
left a bunch of her stuff there in like a chest or whatever, including a diary. And the diary had some pretty like bad things to say about Joe,
Oh,
creepy stuff. And she sold that to this like kind of like a far alt right thing called Project Veritas, and then right now she's going to jail for a month for selling that to the. They say she stole it. They say
the
she
person that
stole
sold.
Ashley Biden. Yeah, they
But
say she
really, they
stole the
just,
diary. She found a bunch of stuff and she's like, "Oh, this is interesting," and she gave it to people who were going to weaponize it.
yeah.
But yeah, she's. I think she's serving her 1 month prison sentence right now, jail sentence.
I,
So yeah, there's just so much weird stuff with
yeah,
the Biden
I,
family.
I
I
do
don't.
have a little bit of, and maybe I'm being a little not critical enough of Biden, but I'm a little bit skeptical of the diary, like depending on what was in it, I guess. Like that was
Mhm,
bad about Biden because the Hunter Biden laptop thing didn't that
mhm.
end up going nowhere? Like there was like a
I don't
bunch
think
of
we really. I don't think we really got to like the public got to like learn what
yeah,
incriminating stuff was in there.
but I worry about the chain of custody. Like I mean I think it should be investigated if there was something bad that supposedly
Yeah.
Biden did. It definitely should be investigated, but I know sometimes when people get something and like something
Hmm.
private, like a laptop, and there's not
Hmm.
a good chain of custody, and then they get it to an opponent, they could easily put something in there that
Yeah.
is, slanderous or something. I don't know, but
Yeah. I think the authenticity of the diary and it being belonging to Ashley Biden is true.
yeah,
The stories that have come out about it, I don't know if that's something that's
right,
public knowledge. Um, but her serving a short jail sentence for it, I think is also kind of shows that there is some truth to the story at least. But I don't know. Is it really considered stealing it? I guess maybe it wasn't the person's property. She found it, saw how she could use it in a way that would embarrass the president. It's definitely in the category of concerning. I don't know
yeah.
how to just like let it go. But
No,
yeah,
I don't, and I
that's
don't
one
think it should
reason.
be like, oh, I'm just saying I'm a little, I can be
Well, no, I'm
my
saying I don't
bullshit
want to
meter
talk
sometimes
about
goes off,
the
or
specific of
yeah,
it because like I don't know if those details have been verified, and
gotcha,
also it's nasty.
yeah.
Um, well, that's it for the good, the bad, and the ugly for me. Is there anything else you want to do? A final thought to put a pin in this thing?
I think I had a bullet point in here about high deficit spending. Um, I believe in funding the government. I think maybe we need to
Hmm.
increase taxes. I would like revenue to be higher from just like the economy doing well.
Uh-huh.
But we've had high deficits with Biden. national debt keeps going up and up. I am concerned about that too.
It's crazy. I have a app on my phone that is like a real time debt clock.
Yeah.
And you can look back and see like based on like inflation and like and also like go back through history and see how in the old days there were presidents who were like, all right, we're gonna do something about the debt, and they actually lowered it. And then the next president would be bring it up a little bit, and they're like, no, we can get it back down. It was like going like this, and now for like in
Yeah.
the modern
We have
America,
we
it
have
just
this
it doubles.
yeah, we had this really toxic relationship with the two-party system. Like one of them
Mhm,
wants to have, more wants to fund more things and increase spending to, the Democrats generally want to do that. And there's some things I agree with that. And
mhm,
Republicans, you could say they're fiscally conservative, some of them are, but they also want to just cut taxes on the rich generally, right? Or
mhm.
and middle class, but it usually goes to the rich. Um, so that combination is just like a disaster, right? Because like if these people are
Right.
running the country, and then one's in charge, they maybe spend more. The other one's in charge, they just cut taxes more, and
Mhm.
it's a recipe for a disaster. I don't know.
It's a ridiculous game that we're playing. Um,
Yeah,
it's not very fun, is it? And we're all losers. Um, all right. Well, I think we had some good points there. I tried to keep it as fair and balanced as possible. I'm not going to vote for the guy, but I did say some things I did like that he did in his first term. All right. Well, as promised from the Guy Fieri bucket, we got a pyramid section, a pyramid segment.
that's right.
Pyramids.
Pyramid
And Kevin had the
schemes.
brilliant idea of talking about pyramid schemes instead, MLMs,
Yeah.
instead of just being like the Great Pyramid of Giza is pretty cool, right? Yeah, top tier pyramid.
Yeah, we just
That would have been
rate
boring.
pyramids. This one's good. This one's bad. That one's not a
I
pyramid.
I want you to start because I'm going to basically just read mine. I have a little paragraph about something, but
Okay.
you could start the segment and let's make it conversational.
Sure. MLMs, that's the legal version of a pyramid scheme, right?
Right.
Um, I've
Multi-level marketing
multi-level marketing, yes.
for anyone that doesn't know.
Um, I was just thinking about friends and family that have had experience with MLMs. I can think
Okay.
of Cutco. Um, there was a fruit juice MLM called what was it called? Monva V. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
They used to sell this like uh berry juice type thing, like blended berries and acai.
Was it
Is that how you say
I was
that?
gonna say it's probably like
Yeah,
acai berries,
yeah,
goji berries, like those
yeah. And they
kind
they
of
would
like
have it in
so-called
like a
superfoods.
yeah, they used to sell it I think in like this like wine glass. I remember some friends trying to get people to sell it with them.
It
Um,
sounds vaguely familiar, but I've never tried it, or I don't think I know anyone who was in on this.
yeah,
I don't think I was.
yeah. There's a friend of the family. They used to sell it. Um, there's some religious MLMs that I've kind of
Hmm.
I've never been a part of an MLM, but just religious ones like It Works
Mine
is
is
one of them.
religious.
Really?
Yeah, mine's called Blessings in No Time.
Oh,
Pretty funny.
I've never
Have
heard
you
of that.
heard of it?
No, tell me about
Okay,
that.
yeah, that's why I chose it because I was like, this is a kind of a funny one. There's something about
Blessings
it that
in
I'm
no
just
time.
so okay. The there's a show called American Greed that I like. It's like I think it's like an MSNBC like docu series,
Yeah, I've seen it.
and they do a lot of this stuff, this kind of talk. So I saw this story, and then I was like, oh, this sounds so cool. I really want this to be made into a movie or something. And then I saw American Greed did an episode. I might watch that tonight. All right, let me read it, okay?
Hmm.
Um, all right, so LaShonda Moore and Marlon Moore, they're a Texas couple that started this Blessings in No Time in during the pandemic. They were just like trying to figure out how we're gonna like make some money right now. And do you know what a chain referral pyramid scheme is?
Chain referral. Um,
There's all these different types of like the eight ball structure. There's like the classic ones. There's all these, but this one was called chain referral. And I did another like look to look it up, and I didn't really see the distinction between that. But That's what it was. It was called a chain referral pyramid scheme.
Okay.
Um,
Tell me about that.
the payments were called blessings. So when you were getting paid, you were being blessed. Um, they promised 800% returns. And they were really good, decent people. So they said, if you're unsatisfied, we have a satisfaction guarantee in our pyramid scheme. We'll give you your money back. They said they have a full refund policy.
Yeah.
It was all fake. But it's just, I've never heard someone be that ballsy to be like, no commitment at all. You can have your money back. So the Moors organized the payment scheme into what they called a playing board. It almost sounds like kind of like role play or like kind of like a board game type thing.
I was thinking like a scratch off almost.
Well, it's more like the structure, like the levels and stuff. So this is where I have to read it because it gets really in the weeds here. Okay, so the payment scheme, the structure was playing boards. They had 8 fire positions, 4 wind positions, 2 earth positions, and 1 water position. Okay.
These are the levels.
Players in the fire position advanced on the board by paying at least $1,400 to the person in the water position and recruiting 2 new fire level participants. And that's when the cycle would repeat. It's really crazy.
Yeah.
So in other words, 8 new participants had to be recruited into the scheme for a single earlier participant to receive a return on their initial investment. The Moors are charged with conspiracy. They're going to be in prison for a long time. The Moors are charged with conspiracy to commit wire fraud, and money laundering. If convicted, they each face a maximum penalty of 20 years in prison for each wire fraud count and 10 years in prison for each money laundering count. They made tens of millions of dollars, and they're going to be locked up forever.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so many things got me though. That they're targeting people, religious people, with the blessings. Then this whole like wind, water, like level. They're kind of gamifying it. People are like, oh, I'm a wind master now. It's like it just seems like really, really, really evil people. That's it.
Yeah,
I just thought something about the structure of it and the name caught my attention.
yeah. The one I was going to talk about, I'm going to get to it in 1 second, but I'm just keeping with the religious themed MLMs.
Yeah.
You've probably heard of LuLaRoe. That's a Mormon company that they
I don't know that.
sell like
No.
women's leggings, but
Oh, wait, Lululemon?
no, I think that's another version of it. I don't know about the
Is this like the Christian or the Mormon
Mormon,
version
yeah.
of Lululemon? Okay.
Maybe. I don't know about the lemon. I just know they sell leggings and like they have distributors and it's an MLM. And then there was
Yeah.
another one that I had family join. Uh, it was called It Works. I think that it's a Christian MLM, and they
Yeah.
sell body wraps. Like you basically have like this Saran wrap that they they wrap around your body to like
For
keep
what
it tight.
purpose?
It just keeps you tight. It just
Oh,
it makes
so it's
your
like Spanx,
it's like Spanx,
the
but
poor
like
man's
they
Spanx.
take it off and like it kind of sometimes will hold shape for a little bit, but it's not something
I
that's
don't
like
see
sustaining.
how it would contour you. That's weird.
Yeah, they did before and after photos. I remember seeing it all over social media. This was back in I think 2015, 2014. Like there were so many people into It Works. I don't see it very often anymore, but they're still around and they're in MLM. So
Hmm. Wow.
apparently it works. And that's why they made the name. It works
It
for a little
works.
bit, and then your stuff probably starts coming out again. I don't know.
I wonder how many of these types of products and companies have made their way to Shark Tank. Like there has to have been some that slipped through the cracks, and then they like look into the deal and they're like, oh, this is not above board. I'm sure
I
that's
wonder
happened.
if any sharks have invested in MLMs
Maybe I'm gonna look this
because
up.
there's a lot of money in it. I don't think they should be legal, but it seems pretty
Yeah,
lucrative. You
yeah,
know?
I'm gonna look that up.
Yeah, I'd be
Also,
curious.
for the viewer, we'll get back to Shark Tank next week. This was a political episode.
Yeah. I also meant to put
Um,
the little intro video we did before Snark Tank. I forgot to do that on the last episode. I'll remember for the next one because that's the
oh,
whole point we got those.
that is pretty funny though. And it was pretty bad though. I would forget about it too.
Yeah.
Intentionally
I did
bad,
have it in
right?
one episode, to be fair. The 2 episodes
Yeah.
ago.
That's
Yeah. I did
well,
see that one.
it'll have its triumphant return next week.
Yeah.
What other pyramid schemes
Yeah, I want to talk about
did you look up?
PHP Agency. This
What's
is
that one do?
it's Patrick Bet David's
Oh,
company.
PBD.
Yeah, PBD. He has a podcast. This is probably gonna make some of his viewers angry. We'll see. Let us know in the comments. I don't care. Um, so he it's a life insurance MLM. It was
Hmm.
started in 2009. I think that's how he got all his money. I could be wrong. Maybe he came from a wealthy family.
I think
Um,
it's probably that, and then
yeah,
he ripped people off.
yeah, um, yeah. So PHP stands for People Helping People, which is ironic to me.
Aw, that's sweet.
Well, when we
He's in
get
it for the right
yeah,
reasons.
when we get into the financials, I think it doesn't look so sweet. But um,
Not very helpful.
yeah, I don't. Looks like Patrick's helping himself. Um,
Oh man.
so yeah, like all MLMs, you pay a fee to be. You start out as a trainee first, um, and it's completely commission based. And then you'll level up to an associate, but you have to recruit additional people under you,
Hmm.
and you have to make so many sales. And it's yeah. So there was an income statement from 2021 that I found because I was just curious how much their agents make. Um,
Uh,
and it came from them, but they don't have it on their site anymore. I had to pull it from this like archive website. But half of their agents made less than $1,000, like annually, the
that's-
entire year.
how do
Um,
they survive? That's crazy.
yeah, and here's the biggest thing, and this is like all MLMs though. 2 to 3% made more than 50K of all their insurance agents,
Hmm.
and that's like 50K. That's like a normal full-time job, right? Like
Right.
for the average person. Um, but yeah, 2 to 3%. Those are the only people getting money, and it got even worse. It was like less than a percent when you start over, like, if you're talking over 100,000.
Yeah.
It was becoming fractions of a percent. I'll put up a screenshot of what I'm talking about just so people can
Okay.
see. But yeah, this was from 2021. I don't know.
Wow. I've never understood how people could trust him just based on his name alone. What Iranian guy's name is Patrick David with bet in the middle? My middle name's Bet. I like to bet. He's like, I'm a gambler, I'm a betting man, and my name is Patrick David.
Bet on me. I think it's funny too because I've listened to some of his podcasts. Just sometimes he'll have people that I think are interesting on it.
Mm,
I think he's stupid, but
yeah.
he
He's
always
brilliant compared to his co-hosts.
oh yeah
His co-hosts are like, oh man, I don't want to be too mean.
uh,
They might be mentally
dude, they're
challenged. I'm not
I'm
sure.
glad you just said that. I agree with you, but they actually had the Fox News anchor Jesse, is it Waters? What's his name?
Yeah.
Waters. He
Jesse Waters?
Yeah, they had him on the podcast, and I was seeing some clips recently. I didn't watch the whole episode, but there's some
Uh-huh.
really funny scenes where he's talking about like, what do they want to make the McDonald's hourly wage? They were talking about California. Like these people making 20
Mhm.
bucks an hour. What is that? Six figures? And they're like, no, that's about 40,000. He's like, well, if your husband and wife work there, that's what, 100,000? He's like 80. Like the 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 PBD podcast actually looked intelligent compared to Jesse Waters. I guess that's
That's
not
bad
saying
math.
it
It's really
was
bad
really
math.
bad. Yeah, you should watch that. I'll send you some clips because it was really funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's funny that he's always bragging like whenever he has somebody that he disagrees with about like free markets, like because
Hmm.
he's pretty hardcore libertarian. Um,
Hmm.
and like he just talks about he's like, what do you think is better, money in the free market, or if I invest it, if I give it to Congress
Is that
to
your PBD impression?
yeah, I can't do a PBD.
It was funny the way you did it. Your face changed. Your face you like did this. You're like this talking like you're Kevin, and you're like I'm PBD now.
Well, like, yeah, I don't know. He's just so proud of himself, and I just
Yeah.
think the way he got his wealth is, I mean, he should be proud that of his podcast is doing well, but like, if he thinks he's a
Yeah.
businessman, a successful businessman from his life insurance days, I don't know. I think he's a piece of shit based on what I
Yeah.
know
He's
about his
spinning it.
MLM. Yeah.
Um. Yeah. So many people in that kind of like in that world. They're all about like you just gotta hustle. It's the grind set. It's like they do. It's very like kind of like it's false like I don't know. They're hyping themselves. They're their own hype man. You know, that's part of it.
Yeah.
It's sales, and they have to sell themselves. It's just they are grifters. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I haven't watched a lot. I watched when Dave Smith, Libertarian Comic, was on, and the DeSantis episode.
Oh, that was
Way
so
back when.
uncomfortable.
That's pretty much my only experience with him. And wait, and also Joe Rogan. That's right. We did talk about when he was on Rogan giving all those
Yeah.
extravagant gifts. I'm like, you're just buying him his like loyalty. You know, it's so gross.
Yeah.
Patrick Bet David. What else is there? Anything else on your list?
Checking. I don't think so. Nope.
Okay, well, this is the teaser I started with. Why this is called the Chinchilla Bet. Mom, if you're watching, this is about you. You owe me a chinchilla. Let me explain why. Uh, when O.J. Simpson was in trial back in the 90s, I'm like in 4th or 5th grade. And this thing went on for like a year, you know? So it was kind of obsessive. My mom was all into it and stuff. And then right when he was about to be like, uh, what's the verdict?
Mhm.
My mom, she's like, what do you think is gonna happen? I was like, I think he's gonna get away with it. I'm a little kid, and I just think my instincts are like, and I said that I was like, he's famous and he's rich. He's gonna get away with it. And she's like, that's crazy. And then I said, I bet you a chinchilla hamster. I said, he's not going to go to jail. He's gonna be innocent or not proven guilty or whatever. And you have to get me a chinchilla hamster. And I was right. And I never got a chinchilla hamster. I don't really know what happened there, Mom. You usually followed through.
And him
Um,
dying triggered your memory. So,
it did. It
yeah.
was like I thought about it. I was like, first of all, I saw KGP, Corinne Jean-Pierre. Like someone asked her at a press conference. They said, does Biden have any relationship with O.J. Simpson? Did they ever know each other? I was like, that's a weird question to ask. And then she said, well, we've been speaking with the family. We want to respect their privacy at this time, and our thoughts and prayers are with them. And it's like, now say the victims. Say something about the victims. Otherwise, it's going to go really bad. And she didn't. She just ended it there. I was like, oh, she just like said thoughts and prayers to the Simpson family. That was a rough look. But no, then I thought about the chinchilla story. I had to make it all about me, you know? um, but yeah, that's it.
All right.
Let's post something out of here for next week.
Let's do it.
I hope we get something controversial.
Triangles instead of pyramids.
Okay. This is like so not controversial. I don't even know what to do with this. I guess we're gonna do a little mini movie review. Hopefully you've seen Moana.
I've seen Moana.
How did that get in there? That's such a random. Okay, well we're gonna talk about Moana. I love the movie, by the way. All
It
right.
was a good movie. Yeah.
Um. You know what? Let's just do it right now. Moana. No, that's not the structure of the show. I was gonna say then we'd have to pull another one.
You know what we should do?
I
We should sing the song from the movie as an
which
outro.
which one?
The one that goes na 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 na
Da, da, da,
na
da,
na
da. Oh, we'll get
na
YouTube
na na.
stricken. We're singing it so good, we're gonna get YouTube like copyright
Yeah, I
strike.
also don't know any of the words, so I'm just gonna have to hum it.
I don't either. I do like that movie though.
It
I'll think of
calls me.
something.
That's the part I know. It calls me.
What's the rock one where he just says like you're welcome
You're
over and over?
welcome.
That's all he says, I think.
It
Da,
is,
ba,
and it
da, ba,
actually,
you're
you know
welcome.
what it makes me think of? It makes me think of Pierce from Community, where Baby Boomer Santa, he's like, "You're welcome."
Oh, yeah. You're welcome for everything in this world. I saw that the Community movie script is, it's been completed,
Mhm.
and Dan Harmon's been giving it out to the cast, and they're all reading it, and they're all like, "This is great. This is going to be something big."
Yeah,
So
that's great.
that's a good sign.
Yeah, I look forward to
All
that.
right, man. Well, I think we had a good discussion today. Next week we'll be doing the good and the bad and the ugly on Trump. That's going to be challenging for me. I kind of just want to lump it all into the ugly category, but that's not how journalists report the news. All right, dude.
All right,
Um,
good episode.
let's end it there. Bye, everyone.